Yacky Sackler. So I'm not going to lie, this is really, really hard. It's just going to take a lot of grinding out repetitions. I mean, it is all just a matter of opinion. But this is one of the hardest Primus songs, in my opinion. It's just a matter of opinion. And so to start with, the notes are, you start with a pop. That's weird. Just take note of it. It's weird to start with the pop. So when you start with the pop on 6 on the D string, and the anchor of the riff that you're holding, because the pattern stays the same, the anchor would be on your index finger, and it goes from 6 down to 4, up to 7, and then back down to 6. Now listen to this pattern. If I were to take away this hammer-on thing right here and just do the pops and the slaps, this is why it's so hard. Listen to this beat that you're trying to just play casually. It's hard. You heard it the first time. It's hard to play, you know what I mean? It's hard to strip down and play because it is a really weird... And that's what your hand's trying to play. That's the rhythm that your hand's trying to play. So it's very counterintuitive and weird. Now with the hammer-on part, it stays the same. So when you have your anchor right here, the 6 on the D string, you're always just a string up and a fret down. So the 6 on the D, you would hammer on 7 on the A. And then when you go down to 4, you hammer on 5 on the A. And then up to 7, you would do 8 on the A. So I would recommend practicing these little micro patterns here, because just this, to pull off cleanly like I'm doing, I'm popping really, really hard. And then I'm hammering down really, really hard. I want that to be loud, and so it pokes out in the mix. So the first thing I came across is I wasn't able to hammer on cleanly. And so I started using 2 fingers. There's a dude online that was doing that and described it that way, and it's perfect. You just use both your fingers because it needs to be hammered down hard. So use 2 fingers there to hammer on that note. Then make sure that the pop is really loud all the times that you pop, and that's hard too. That has to be like the loudest note that you hit, is those pops. And that'll create this dynamic wave, because no matter how hard you hammer on this note, it's still just going to sound like a picked or plucked note, you know? That's pretty close. Sorry, ADD. So you want it to be as loud of a hammer on as possible. And you also, when you pop this note, and then when you go to hammer down, you don't want that chord to bleed together like this. You don't want that note to ring out. So all these notes have to be like transient hits. And to do that, you would have to lift up on your index finger when you're hammering down the note. And it's kind of like you can pop it up when you hammer down. It's kind of, you can hammer down with enough force to lift up that index finger, and you can get that as your mechanic. So I'm just lifting up enough to where it doesn't make contact with this fret anymore, and now I'm muting it instead of holding the note down. So that's hard. I'm telling you, you're just gonna have to practice it out. And then another micro pattern is to just get down the slap right after it. Do that a bunch of times, because that's the pattern that you're going to be dancing around the fretboard with. So after you do this initial one, there's 3 open notes, and then you actually mute hard 2, and then 2 muted slaps. So you actually mute down hard. Because you want to carry this thumping pattern throughout. He's kind of doing that, filling in all the spaces and doing all in 16th notes. So. And then the final tip I can give you is to put your thumb, let those open notes through by lifting your thumb, but the rest of the riff you kind of want to have it curled over here, muting the E string. That way the rest of the slaps that you play are muted slaps. Oops. See how I'm opening my thumb and then closing it right after. And that creates kind of like a weird grip right here, but that's the one you have to keep rigid as you're going down. If you angle it or do it any weird, then when you try to do it, you're going to, misfire, hit a wrong fret. So you kind of want to find that grip where you can open your thumb, close it, and then for me, it's like right here. That's what I'm doing. Then taking that down to 4. And right there is very weird too, getting rid of that muted note. So that's another micro pattern you want to practice. Just got to do all those little micro patterns. There's like a stripped down way you can practice this riff, because going down here is just the same pattern that you're doing up here, but practicing that a bunch will get you used to the little micro patterns you're doing. Then when you try to do this extended riff, you're actually getting it. And then I'll add the beginning part, because it's really easy to teach, is that he's doing a bar chord here on 9, and then up to 11, then to 10. So it's all in this little 3 fret box here. The mechanics of it is he's pinching it, actually. Gives you a warm tone where you're not really hearing any picking. And I'm actually dropping my hand pretty hard to signal the end of the note to give it more of a rhythmic feel. And then you go up to 14th fret here, slide into it. Then 12th fret, and then 14 on the D string. And you slide it down and out of that. So slide up, slide down. Then repeat that and chill.